Hello fellow cyborgs and welcome to an Unhaul video. I don't often do these things. I think I somehow feel awkward justifying getting rid of books, and I feel like most of the time I want to keep it secret. I don't know really why, but I also realize that watching Unhaul videos is something that I like to do when I'm exploring new channels. I think it says a lot about the sort of reader you are to see the books that you're getting rid of as much as the books that you're bringing into your home. So I decided that I would share with you all the contents in this bag. So in here are a bunch of books that I just haven't been able to give to my library yet. That's where I donate my books because the libraries are not open. I remember half of the books that I put in here, so let's go on a book journey and I will tell you why I am unhauling these things. Another Country by James Baldwin was the first Baldwin I read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I don't think that I want to reread this. I suspect that if I read it today, it would be more of a 3-star read, but I'm really not interested in rereading this for at least many years. I would rather read more new things by Baldwin and explore him more as an author than come back to this. I also gave 4 stars to Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, but I don't think that I will reread this anytime soon, and I also suspect that if I reread it, it would be more at a 3-star level than a 4, so I'd rather just make room on my shelves for the things that I know that I love. This is a bind-up of the short novels by John Steinbeck that I got from one of my local libraries years ago and then proceeded to never read this actual copy. When I read all of Steinbeck's short novels, I did it through the audio format. All of his short novels as well got either 2 or 3 stars from me, so I never actually read this physical copy and I didn't actually enjoy the contents all that much, so I don't think I need to keep this big hardback on my shelves. I've also read a lot more by Steinbeck that I know now that he's not one of my favorite authors, though he has written my favorite book of all time. I'm at peace with that, but no longer feel like I need to collect the Steinbecks and keep them on my shelves because of some sort of loyalty. I don't really have a loyalty to Steinbeck, just to East of Eden. I've read Tess of the Durbervilles at least 2 times. It might even have been 3, and I have not enjoyed it all that much every time that I've read it. The last time I read it, I can't remember if I gave it 2 or 3 stars. Maybe I gave it 3 stars, but this will probably only ever be 3-star book at the most. It's just full of so many bleak things that if I want to reread a Victorian classic, I would want to do one that doesn't depress me quite so much. I've also been really enjoying reading on my Kindle, but also not supporting Amazon, therefore by just downloading free books, and classics are probably the only free books on Amazon. So if I want to reread Tess, I can get it from the library or just download the free ebook, and that'll be fine for me. I'm also going to get rid of these 2 really pretty editions of Barchester Towers and Dr. Thorne. This is book 2 and 3 in the Chronicles of Barsetshire series by Anthony Trollope. The reason is that I have listened to the audiobooks of Barchester Towers and Dr. Thorne and Framley Parsonage, the 4th book. I plan on listening to the audiobooks of the final 2 books in the series. I really enjoy the audiobook experience, and I'm not sure that I would ever want to physically reread them. I think I just might want to just have my ears read them through audiobooks in the future. As pretty as these editions are, I just really don't think that I will actually read these physical editions, and they do take up quite a number of inches on the shelf. So on a similar vein, I have Bleak House and Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens. Both of these I bought the physical copies to read them and then promptly just listen to the audiobooks. These are such big books that I don't think I would be physically comfortable reading them anyway, and I did download a Charles Dickens collection onto my Kindle, so I already have these in written form, but just electronically. So as much as I really like having placeholders on my shelves of, oh, these books I both really enjoyed and I can look at their spines, this is like 5 inches of room on a bookshelf that I'm never actually going to make use of. I will be rereading these this year, but I'll either do it on e-reader or through audio. You recently saw me talk about Manya by Anna Maynard, translated by Kate Phillips. I DNF'd this and gave it a 2-star rating, so I don't need to keep this on my shelves, even though it's pretty. Mostly because it's really long and it takes up a lot of space, but also because I do want the books on my shelves to be things that I would reread in the future, and I don't really have the desire to do that with Manya. I enjoyed reading Pygmalion and 3 other plays by George Bernard Shaw during my They Made Me readathon that I hosted with Acacia Ives last year, but I only really enjoyed one play in here, which is Major Barbara, and I would be more inclined to just buy Major Barbara and have that on my shelves and reread that than keep this beast on my shelves. The other 3 plays were The Doctor's Dilemma, Pygmalion, and Heartbreak House, but I only enjoyed those at 2 or 3 star levels, whereas Major Barbara I enjoyed for 4. So I'd rather just buy a copy of just Major Barbara. I read The Girl on the Landing by Paul Torday a few years ago, I think, and then I kept kept it around so my mom could read it. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I remember wishing that it either had been more of a psychological thriller or had more horror bits, but it was too much firmly in general fiction for like what genre it was going for, that it didn't impact me as much as I thought it could have. I won't be rereading this, and so I'll pass it on to someone else who can enjoy it. I recently DNF'd my reread of The Stone Gods by Jeanette Winterson. I just did not enjoy the writing style all that much, nor did I enjoy what the story was giving me. I haven't completely given up on Winterson. This is the only Winterson that I've read, but I don't have an interest in rereading this, so. It's very pretty and someone else should read it and love it more than me. I DNF'd Bury Me Standing, The Gypsies and Their Journey by Isabel Fonseca last year. This is just too dense of a nonfiction. I do want to read more about the Roma people, even if just to know what label is inoffensive to talk about them with, but I didn't like this book's approach to it. It was just not very readable, so I'll pick up something else instead. I'm also going to get rid of the Thrawn Trilogy, which is a Star Wars book trilogy by Timothy Zahn. I really enjoyed all 3 of these, I think at a 4-star level for all of them when I read them a couple years ago. But since I have not reread them and really don't have any plans to reread them, if I want to reread them in the future, I can borrow them from the library or buy used copies again. But for right now, I don't want to store this much inchage on my shelves and have to keep moving them around. The good thing about Goodreads is that it will remind me of what I've read. I don't have to keep them on my shelves to remember the ones that I liked. The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill, I think I gave 3 out of 5 stars when I first read it. It is a very beautiful physical object, but I did not particularly enjoy this retelling. It was really gory, and I remember the ending being kind of ambiguous and not explored in the way that I wanted. This is also a YA novel, and it just tends to not be my jam as far as like the tone and pacing, etc. for me. And because this book is so beautiful, I would much rather it go to someone who actually would love this story and love it as a physical object than me just hoard it like a dragon and sitting on top of its gold and not doing anything with it. The Ultimate Harry Potter and Philosophy, edited by Gregory Bassam, is one of the pop culture and philosophy books, one of the 4 or 5 that I purchased over the years and enjoyed none of them. This was the one that I enjoyed the most, hence it has stayed on my shelves for so long. This has a number of essays talking about different philosophies and how it intersects with Harry Potter. However, the main thing I remember is that the majority, at least 3/4 of the essays in here, talk about only the 7th book. And I was just really frustrated of all of the Harry Potter stuff that you can talk about. You all just gravitated on the same book. I was really unimpressed at the lack of Harry Potter material, the breadth of Harry Potter material that these academics went for with their essays. I actually don't know why I've kept this on my shelves all this time, because I don't think I would ever reread it, and I did not even mark up in here the essays that I enjoyed the most, so I'm not going to read the whole thing again, so bye-bye. This is The Trauma Cleaner, One Woman's Extraordinary Life in the Business of Death, Decay, and Disaster by Sarah Krasnostein. Probably Krasnostein. That's fine. I listened to this on audiobook. I really enjoyed the audiobook experience, and I don't think I need to keep this physical copy around. It's a hardback, and I did enjoy this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm not sure if I'm interested in rereading it. If I do, I'll probably just listen to the audiobook again, though. The Last Melon. This is Irish Fairy Tales by James Stephens, illustrated by Arthur Rackham. This is one of the I'm waiting in line in Barnes & Noble, and there's a pretty book that I can justify buying because it was on sale for only $8 sort of a purchase. I probably bought this in high school, which is about the time where I was buying these classics in the pretty editions and then never reading them. I have since realized that I don't really love fairy tales. I love the idea of fairy tales, but I don't actually enjoy reading a lot of them. And this has been on my shelves for probably a good 15 years, and I've never cared enough to read it. From what I know of Irish fairy tales as well, they tend to be really bleak, and those are definitely not the kind of fairy tales that I enjoy. So I think I just need to admit that I will never read this, and even though it's beautiful, it can go to someone who will appreciate it. So those are the 20 books. Only 2 of them were things that I did not read originally. That's a lie. Only 3 of them were things that I did not read originally that I will be giving away so that I have room on my shelves. I actually have room to have a couple front-facing things for the first time in years, so that's exciting. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, continue to be lovely.